Joint attention and working with school age and older students is still an important skill to work on. So, tonight at Joint Attention JamFest, I'm going to be talking all about working on joint attention for older students. So, this could be students who are school age, students who are beyond middle school age, who are still working on that social reciprocity, social engagement. Hey everyone, how's it going? Happy Monday. Oh my goodness, it's a Monday. Here in Ohio, it is first it was hailing when I went to see my accountant, and now it's downpouring. Yay. So let me know where you're tuning in from. Hey there. I'm tuning in from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. And so I have been logging on each Monday to share all about joint attention and talking about joint attention with the idea of working on this foundational social engagement for our students. Oh, hey, from California. And making, oh, another California, hey, making sure that we are, in New Jersey, love it, making sure that we are working on things that are functional for our students. And so joint attention, there's a lot of research that says that when we focus on joint attention, that is going to help a nice foundational skill for our students, and that is going to help us with our students when they want to find their voice and start communicating with the world. So we've been sharing books, music, and play. Some of the things that we've talked about are Pete the Cat. We've talked about Brown Bear, Brown Bear. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's great. Thanks for tuning in. Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. We've talked about Pete the Cat and the Pizza Party. And we've talked about lots of fun songs, using songs that have motion. So those can be nice for students who are not yet speaking. So we've talked about The Wheels on the Bus, one of my favorites. Made a TikTok about that. We talked about Old MacDonald. We talked about Five Little Monkeys jumping on the bed. We've talked about the Itsy Bitsy Spider. And last week, we talked about Jack Hartman. Jack Hartman. Let me know if you know Jack Hartman. So if you're tuning in and you're from Florida, hopefully you know Jack Hartman, because I heard he does some school gigs down there. So Jack Hartman is a wealth of information, and he has some really fun YouTube videos. So today I wanted to talk all about joint attention, and I wanted to talk more about working with students who are school age. So thinking about how can we still work on engagement for our students who are not yet speaking, who are having trouble with engagement. And so the book that I want to talk to you about is an aquarium book. So back in the day when COVID happened and we were all doing teletherapy, I started doing virtual field trips with my students. And this can still be very, very fun to do with your little ones. You could use any type of book that's about fish. I created a book in the height of COVID in my TPT store. It's called the Adapted Aquarium Book. I like this book because today we're talking about working with older students. And so when I'm working with students of any age who are autistic, I like to use pictures that have books that have real pictures. So especially for students who are a little bit older, school age, middle school, high school, who would still benefit from work on joint attention and shared engagement, we want to make sure that we're using materials that are age respectful. And I don't know about you, you can let me know in the chat, but it can be really hard to find materials that are age respectful for older students. So I have an adapted aquarium book that's on my TPT store, but you could use any old book that's about fish. And so I am talking about themed lessons because I do like a themed lesson. That is fun for me to talk about and fun for me to plan. So the idea with these virtual field trips is you read a book, and that's how you're working on that shared engagement. And we talked about no matter what book you choose, you want to use an energetic voice. And so your energetic might be different than my energetic, and that's okay. Today's Monday. I'm kind of tired. I stayed up too late last night. I was watching this show called White Lotus. It's beyond amazing. I was going to tell everybody about it on a Saturday, maybe when I talk about things that are not autism related. But I really love using a book. So using an energetic tone of voice, modifying the story, and just creating a fun and functional activity. So we want to make it fun. So let's say that I have my aquarium book and I say, okay, We're going to read a book today all about seeing animals. That's what we're going to do. If your student sits with you for 30 seconds and then they get up from the table, that is okay. We want to make it fun. This is not something they have to do. This is where we get into this is a fun event. So I've been digging into the research the past 2 years on joint attention more. And that's what it is. It's the shared activity, a fun event is what they say. And that's pretty subjective, right? Everybody, there's a couple of us on here. Everybody's going to have their own child who thinks something different is fun. So we have to read the room, right? We have to be detectives. So we're going to read our aquarium book and we're going to use an energetic tone of voice. We are going to use a shortened sentence if our student is feeling antsy and is wanting to get up. And then if we're keeping data, if we're listening as professionals, we're just going to write down, how long did my student attend today? Did they look in my direction? Did they look at the book? Those types of things are going to be important for us when we're talking about this joint attention piece. So the book that I'm sharing for you today, because it's a whole theme I'm discussing, is an adapted aquarium book. I also, on this idea of virtual field trips, and let me know, we have people tuning in from all over. Let me know if you've ever done a virtual field trip. Those can be very, very fun. So a virtual field trip, you can go to the aquarium. So I wrote a book called The Adapted Aquarium Book, and it's all about going to the aquarium. And if you like putting together your own materials, you could just whip together a Google Slides. Sometimes I would do that, and it wouldn't be anything that I would share with you, or, it would just be something I use with my students. I also have books about going to the zoo. That's very fun. And the idea with this is it's a shared literacy-based activity. We're doing it together, and then we pair it with going on the field trip. So that's what I'm going to talk about next. So the field trip part is there are really cool places that you can go. If you're tuning in, we're talking about joint attention, a little bit different tonight. We're talking about working with older students. So school age. So let's say that we read a book about fish. We read a book about going to the aquarium. And then your virtual field trip is going to be visiting the live webcams. So there is a place, a couple of you said you're from California. I'm jealous. I just wanted you to know that. I love Ohio, but I'm jealous right now because it's raining here. That you can go to the Monterey Bay Aquariums, and you can just go into YouTube and put in live webcam, or you can Google Monterey Bay Aquarium live webcam. And this will take you to different animals that you can visit. So if your students are able to make a choice on what animals they want to see, then you could pick that and you could watch this together. One of my very favorite animals to watch at the Monterey Bay Aquarium for the virtual field trip are jellyfish. So the jellyfish are very, very fun. And you can just look this right up on YouTube, jellyfish live webcam, and it flows really nicely. So you read your adapted aquarium book, and then you do your virtual field trip. You can also do this with the zoo. You can read an adapted zoo book, and then you can do a virtual field trip for the zoo. So these were things that we were talking about a lot when we were doing teletherapy, when everybody was doing teletherapy. But there's still really nice ideas that you can incorporate. Yes, so it is the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And I'll put some of these down in the links below in the comments after the live too. So it's nice because you can read the book, which we've been talking about, books, music, and an activity. You can read the book, and then you can go and you can take a virtual field trip to the zoo. You can take a virtual field trip to the aquarium, and it can be a whole lesson. So if you were doing this in teletherapy, because that's where all these ideas started for me, but I still use them when I was doing in-person, individual, and small groups. And so you can just pull these up on your smartboard. You can pull these up on your iPad, your computer, whatever you have access to. And it can be a really fun way to work on a shared activity and to work on something fun with your school age or older students. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Joint Attention JamFest. I've been going live every single week, giving you ideas that you can use in your next therapy session. So when you start using these things tomorrow, please send me a direct message because I would love to hear about it. Okay, so tonight we talked about using the aquarium book. I have an adapted aquarium book in my TPT store. And then we talked about then taking the virtual field trip. So you could do a virtual field trip to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. You could do a virtual field trip to the zoo. You can do a virtual field trip to a lot of different places. So that is our book and our music. And then today I wanted to share with you a play activity that you can use with your autistic learners that is for school age students. So sometimes it can be hard for us to find activities that are age respectful for students that are school age, middle school, high school. And I know that when I was moved into a position where I was working with middle school and high school students and upper elementary, I got rid of a lot of different stuff because there was a speech therapist there who had been there for a very long time. And so there were a lot of really old materials. And so after I filled 2 trash cans in the hallway with old materials that I was okay to do. Oh, hey, Paula from Jersey. Nice to see you. What I did was I actually just created my own product for students who are at the middle school, high school level. And I just want to show you what it looks like. And you can always, if you don't have access to this, you can always modify things on your own. But this is a nice matching game. And before I talk about this, let's talk about some of the games we've talked about. So we talked about doing modified Simon Says. So it's always Simon Says. Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, twist. So these are fun cooperative games. We've also talked about playing modified Uno. Uno is something that we oftentimes have just laying around. And the way that we modify it is we just put down a blue, a green, a red, a yellow, and the student picks and matches the color. And then we take a turn, we pick, and we match the color. Last week, we talked about playing modified musical chairs. So we put on whatever is a popular song right now. What is a popular song right now for kids? I can't even think. But we put on a song and we say, okay, when the music's on, we walk. When the music stops, we sit down and then we play. And we teach the students how to play. It's great for cooperative learning. It's great for joint attention. It is a really nice activity for your students. And what's great about it is that you can modify that. If you're working with younger students, you can pick a song that's popular right now. If you're working and it's Halloween, I had shared that I had done the Monster Mash, if you're able to talk about holidays. So you can kind of make it really specific to what your students love and enjoy. So the game that I wanted to share today is called Double Up. And so I created this game. I sell it on my website and through some distributors, speech therapy distributors, because there are not a lot of games out there for students who are older. And so this is a nice game because it's a 4-person player game. And it has real life pictures, and you can play up to 4 people. And so you can match picture to picture. And these are different leisure actions. So if you've listened to any of my talks, I love to talk about leisure skills because it's so important across the lifespan. Hey there from Florida. So this one is all about leisure. And then we have leisure actions, and then we have leisure nouns. Cell phone. I mean, where would I be without my cell phone? Probably reading a lot more books. I have like 3 books I'm reading right now. Leisure items. And so you can match picture to picture. And then also because, I worked in the schools for 20 years. And so the past 10, I worked in middle school, high school. And so a big thing for middle school, high school is hygiene vocabulary. So being able to talk about these items is really, really important for our students. So this is what that looks like. And this is Double Up. This is a game I created. And then we also have hygiene actions. And so you can match picture to picture. You can match noun to action, make it a little bit more difficult for your students. But I think the thing that's most important when you're working with older students, and that's who we're talking about today for Joint Attention JamFest, is just to think about using age-respectful materials. And that doesn't mean if you have a student who really loves a cartoon and they love Daniel the Tiger and you want to embed that into your sessions, I think that's totally fine. But when I'm teaching new skills and new concepts, I try to use real life pictures. I don't use clip art for older students. I just try to use materials that are age respectful. And for me, that means real life pictures. So somebody actually had asked me either through an Instagram DM or on my from my email list, where do you get products where you use real life pictures? Well, when I was a treating therapist, I would just make them myself. That's kind of something I always did before TPT started, and then TPT started. And so I would just use, if you're just using it in your own classroom and you're not selling it, you can just use Google Slides and you can use any old picture that you want and, make it more diverse and look like the students that you're serving and all that great stuff. So thinking about using virtual field trips, over at abaspeech.org, I have a whole blog about virtual field trips. You could read the Adapted Aquarium book, which is in my TPT store, which is really great for that shared literacy activity that we're working on. And then you could go on your virtual field trip. So you could go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. You could Google that. And you could go look at the live webcams. They have every type of animal. My favorite is the jellyfish, but that's just what I love. And you can also look it up on YouTube. They kind of have it running and going. And then pick a game for your students that are older that has real life pictures. This is Double Up. This is my real one that I use with clients. That's why it's kind of beat up because I take it places. What else did I want to share? Next week on March 7th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, I am doing an ASHA and ACE approved ethics talk. So if you need ethics, make sure that you check your email if you're on my email list. Also, it's in my profile. You can register for free, and then it is $25 for a CEU. And that CEU you can also book a 15-minute consult with myself. So that is special for this March 7th talk. I'm very, very excited about that as well. Make sure that you send me a message. Let me know if there's a topic that you really love and enjoy. This week on the Autism Outreach podcast, I'm talking all about AAC. And so we've been talking about that quite a bit here at ABA Speech. And so make sure that you listen to that episode. A new episode of the Autism Outreach podcast drops every single Tuesday. And I will be back here on Monday. I'm going to do the Joint Attention JamFest through March because everybody's been logging on. And so thank you for logging on and supporting me. I love seeing all of you live. I've been calling everybody that tunes in my virtual coworkers because, I work from home now, so I need that. So I hope that you're doing well. And the last little thing is Friday, I will be in Columbus, Ohio doing a training all about SLP BCBA collaboration with 2 other colleagues. So if you're going to be at the Ohio ABA conference, make sure that you say hi because I will be there. All right. Hope you are doing well. And I will see you next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you soon. Bye.